This video is about the homework solutions for days 1 and 2. That's section 1.3, 4.1, and 1.7. In our first section, section 1.3, we have 3 problems that ask us to do some rounding. The first one asks us to round to the nearest 10. To do this, I want to make sure I'm comfortable with my place value. So this is ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. This is asking me to round to the nearest 10, so that would be this 8. To decide what to do with the 8, I need to look at its right-hand neighbor, which is the 2. The 2 says leave this be because it's closer to 80. So my new number is 56,780 to the nearest 10. The next number wants me to take it to the nearest hundreds. So ones, tens, hundreds. Look at the right-hand neighbor. It's less than 5, so this 6 stays a 6. My new number is 39,600. Finally, this last one wants me to round to the nearest 1,000. So ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. I ask the right-hand neighbor, and this is closer to 10, so this bumps up. So 9 plus 1 would be 10, and these all become zeros. So rounding 509,905 to the nearest 1,000 gives me 510,000. To the nearest 100, and you can hear this, 39,600. To the nearest 10, 56,780. When I say it, it's always in that last term. Next, let's take a look at the problems on 1.7. Here we're concerned with order of operations. So here you would think about PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, and subtract. So in our first problem, we have one parentheses, so that's going to come down here. 5 minus 3 is 2. I have no exponents, and now I need to worry about multiplying and dividing next. So there's multiplication going on here, and there's multiplication going on there. Please, please, please remember, if you have a number next to a parentheses with no operator in between, it means you are multiplying. So this is the same as 2 times 2. So 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 times 2 is 4, equals 16. Notice that I did the combining last. On this next problem, first of all, let's see, there's some exponents, so I'm going to do that first. So this is going to come down 8 times 2 to the 4th. Let's look at that. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Because it said this is an instruction. This says multiply it by itself 4 times. So 2 times 2 is 4, and 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. Plus and here's another exponent, minus 3 to the 2nd says 3 times 3, which equals 9. There's 2 3's there. There we go. So next up I have to do my multiplication slash division. So there's one, there's one. So my next line I'll have 8 times 16 is 80 plus 48 is 128. 25 divided by 5 is 5. So 128 plus 5 is 133, minus 9 is 128. 24. Here, this is a division problem. It's also a fraction. You could also think of it as a fraction, but all of my same rules apply. And one way to think about solving something like this, you do the numerator and the denominator separately, because another way of writing this would be 15 plus 5 times 4 divided by 17 minus 12. So let's see. I have to do what's inside the parentheses first. 17 minus 12 is 5. And here I have to take care of this first because it's multiplication and it beats out addition. So this is still in the parentheses, 15 plus 20. And the next line, now I'm going to combine them. So that's 35 divided by 5. 35 divided by 5 is 7. And you could have done this as 15 plus 20 over 17 minus 12 is 5 equals 35 over 5 equals 7. Either way is correct. It just sort of depends on what you feel most comfortable with. Eventually you'd want to work with this because it's just a little simpler. Finally, let's take a look at the last set of problems, which is section 4.1. And we are doing some more rounding. We have several categories here. When I have the little th up here, it tells me immediately that I'm working with numbers that are less than 1. These are fractions. So if I'm looking at the whole number, I have to look at 47. So here's the whole number. I have to look at the next guy to the right, and this will tell me whether this will round up or down. 5 rounds up, so the whole number would be 48. If I'm rounding to the nearest tenths, and let me remind you, the 1 is the thing in the middle. So here's the tens, but here's the tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. Okay? So if I run around to the nearest tenth, I'm going to take a look at this 5, and it's the guy next to him on the right that helps me decide. 4 is less than 5, so that means stay. So I would leave that 5 there. Rounding to the nearest tenth would be 47 and 5/10, or 47.5. If I want to round to the nearest hundredth, I'm going to look at this 4 here because it's the hundredth. I'm going to look at the guy next to him and he'll decide. This is 7, so that bumps that up to from 4 up to 5. So rounding to the nearest hundredth, I would have 47 and 55 hundredths. Finally, if I want to round to the nearest thousandth, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, it's this 7. But the guy next to him decides what to do. 9 is bigger than 5, so that makes that grow into 8. So to round this number to the nearest thousandth would be 47 548 thousandths. So here in number 57, we need to rank these smallest to largest. And let's read these. This is 2 hundredths, there are 2 places, 5 hundredths, 25 thousandths, 52 thousandths, 5 thousandths, 2 thousandths. Well, when I'm comparing fractions, and a decimal is a kind of fraction, I want them all to have the same denominator. So to do that, I'm going to add a little 0 here and add a little 0 here. And now you notice that each one of my decimals has 3 places to the right of the decimal point. So this is no longer just 200ths, but it's 20 thousandths. So let's see, out of all of these, the smallest one would be this one, because that's 2 thousandths. Then we have this one for 5 thousandths. Then we have, so that's 1, 2, this is 20 thousandths, 3, 25 thousandths, 4, 50 thousandths would be number 5, and 52 thousandths would be number 6. Our last one we have to look at is, it's asking which of these two numbers is closest to the number 10. Well, another way to think about decimals sometimes is to think about it like money. Which one is closer to $10? $10.50 or $10.05? It's this one, because this is 5 hundredths and this is 50 hundredths. So this is closer to 0. And that is our bolded problems for homework from day 1 and 2, 1.7, 1.3, and 4.1. That's it for now.